Statistics can be used to compare authors. For example, we're looking at letter counts for 3 authors named Terry, Davis, and Morris. And if we create dot plots for each of the data sets from each author, we can look at the shapes of the data. Terry's data set is shown in yellow. We can see that there are 2 data values on the right side of the data that are quite far from the rest of the data set, almost like we have a long tail on the right side. Terry's data set appears to be skewed right, or otherwise said to have a positive skew. Looking at the shape of Davis's dot plot in blue, it's not exactly as obvious that it's skewed one side or the other, but we can see that there's a large cluster of data values right above the 3, and then they kind of trail off on the left-hand side. There's more of a tail to the left than there is to the right. So this data set is skew left, or has a negative skew. Looking at the dot plot in red, representing Morris's word count, it's pretty symmetric. If we were to try and draw a dotted line down the center of our data, we almost have exactly the same number of points on the left as we do on the right. We have a lot of symmetry here. We don't have a long tail on one side or the other of our data set, so we'll call this data set symmetric. Calculating the mean and the median for each data set, we can compare the numerical results with what we have identified graphically. For Terry, we can see that the mean is larger than the median, and that's what happens in a skewed data set. The mean is influenced by those extreme values in the tail, and so although the median is at that highest point of the curve, the mean is pulled forward towards the right because of those extreme values. Looking at Davis's mean and median, we can see an artifact of the skew left property for this data set. The tail on the left is pulling the mean left of the median. So again, our median is here at the largest point, the highest point on our curve, but the mean is being pulled to the left because of the extra values left of our center. So our mean is just a little bit smaller than our median. Lastly, looking at Morris's data, we can see the mean and the median are both centrally located very close to the high point of the graph. So our mean is at 4.6, which is a little more than halfway, and the median is at 4. And although there is space between these two values, they're both at the high point of the graph. So comparing the data set in red to the data in yellow and blue, notice that in the yellow data, the mean is on the lower side of the graph compared to the median. In the blue data set, the same thing, the mean is on the lower part of the graph compared to the median.